Hello and welcome to Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics. This is Cyrus. I know it's been a little bit since I've had any new uploads coming out, and I apologize for that, but we'll kick things off again with some pretty interesting subject matter, and it's the possibility of having a parallel existence and a alternate timeline that is basically coming in via dreams. Not necessarily, but potentially on the astral plane, but also just as high of a likelihood that it's happening here in this earthly plane of existence as well. Kind of like somebody being reincarnated and existing in two places at the same time, which some people say is how reincarnation operates, that your consciousness just fragments itself into a different unit. And I really think that the topic of fragmentation is one of the most important subjects in this whole field that I really need to go over in deeper, in greater detail in the future, I think, as we try to figure this stuff out. And I think there is going to be a couple more videos about that subject coming up. But anyway, to highlight this, we're looking at a member named Becca who joined a little while back and made her first post on June 20th of this month, and it was a very interesting post, and that's the topic that we're talking about, including an interview with this young woman herself. And so let's read the post. Hey all, I'm just new to this group, but I thought I'd want to start a conversation regarding dreams. I really just want to see if anyone else experiences the same strange thing I do. So it's been a consistent trend in my life that for months on end I can go to sleep, and when I fall asleep I wake up in another life. I look the same, but I have a different name. It could be a different time period. Basically my whole life is different. It's so real. The dreams are so vivid, they're like a film. I have my own families, friends, and even other jobs. I could tell you every detail about these dreams. I spend a whole day in this dream, and when I go to sleep I wake back up in this reality, split between two different realities. Here's the kicker. The next night, the dream just kicks off where it left off. I get up to start my day in this other life, and so forth. These being dreams or experiences are so real that I get physically and emotionally attached to the people in that life. So when these dreams, now I would use quotations around the word dreams, when these dreams stop, it is so heartbreaking. Does anyone else experience this? So very interesting, because I've heard about this happening to people, and it is, certainly not common, and it doesn't match quite the same way as having an astral projection experience. But the thing that was on my mind is this parallel reality happening on this Earth-like astral dimension, or is it happening here in this world? That was one of the main questions I had. So that's why during one of the private Patreon meetings that we do twice a week for people who are patrons of this channel and of my work, we meet up usually twice a week. During one of those meetings, I decided to reach out to Becca Wynn herself and see if she would like to join us so that we can chat and I can ask some of those burning questions and try to get to the bottom of what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead now and skip over to that interview where we can learn more about this really unusual subject. So be sure to put down below in the comments what you thought of this once you're done watching it, if you've ever had an experience like this, and what you think the nature of these types of experiences really are. And one more thing, please go down and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Help keep this channel going. Also, notification bell helps out. You can also head to the Afterlife Topics webpage, check out books like Understanding Life After Death and The Afterlife and Beyond, which are available there, or join the big Facebook community. All that's a great way to be introduced to really interesting concepts and people with really amazing stories like Becca Wynn does. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and turn things over to the interview. Okay. Hello, Becca.
Oh, hi.
Hi there. Nice
Hi.
to meet you. We are
Hi, Becca.
the Afterlife Topics patron group.
Hi, Becca. Hi.
And we were all gossiping or chatting about your post on the group because it was the most interesting post of the week. And,
Yes, definitely.
That's good to know.
It is. Yeah.
whereabout are you?
Scotland?
All right.
Mm.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, Becca,
I'm
Where are
you
you
look like
from?
sorry.
Christina Ricci. You're so cute.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to thank you so much for popping into our discussion here. We wanted to,
That's shame.
well, I had like some like questions about your experiences,
Mm-hmm.
and I might kind of toss them your way, and maybe we can make some progress or figure a couple things out and kind of figure out
Yeah.
what's going on. But it's really interesting, and so I know I have a couple books out about these types of things, and
Yeah.
your experience is something that I've heard about this happening, but haven't had a chance to like speak to somebody, directly that it was happening to. And so I thought this
Yeah.
was kind of a cool thing. So yeah, so
That's it.
I wanted to ask you. So does this happen to you every single night?
It's like it doesn't happen right now, but it happens for like months on end every night. Like
Uh-huh.
I've written every one of them down, every dream down because it's like a movie. It's like it's just so realistic.
Huh.
Yeah.
And
It's
what time period does it seem to be?
the last ones I had was like in the 90s and I was born in 1965. But in the dreams I was about 25 to 30. I lived through the years. Yeah.
Okay, so the time period wasn't that far back. It seemed like the
No.
1990s to you.
Like
Hmm. Yeah.
overlapping.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting. And how do you identify that it's the 90s? People have ugly cell phones.
Mm,
I don't even know. I think it's just because in the dreams I knew my age. I knew when I was born because I had dreams when I was a kid as well in the dreams.
oh,
So I had a whole life that I lived.
Let's see. And
Yeah.
what do you know, like the country it's in or the location? Is
It
it in
was
Scotland? Is it in?
I was in America. I was American, but I lived in Canada when I was a kid.
Oh my, this is so specific.
oh.
Okay.
Wow, I love
Yeah.
it. So you
Yeah.
have like no accent, but so when you're in this other life, you have no
Yeah.
accent. You're not.
No.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Um, okay. Do you know, are you able to remember details about the life, like what your name is?
It was the same name.
Oh, it's the
I was
same
the
name.
same.
Your name is Becca
Like
there.
I don't remember my last name, but I just know I looked the same and
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, there's you know about like astral projection.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to figure out is whether you're having a parallel existence like here in this world, or if you're having a parallel existence on the other side.
Yeah.
And that to me is a little bit like the mystery that
Hmm.
I don't know has been solved, because sometimes like the other side or astral projection, for example, when I astral project, it's a world that looks and feels a lot like this world, but there's a lot
Hmm.
of rules that are different, right? So you
Yeah.
can, for example, teleport with thoughts. You can go to different places with your mind, or you can
Hmm.
talk to people like telepathically, or
Yeah.
you can create things with your mind. So like these are different rules that are on the astral spectrum, which of course is different from here. Yet
Hmm.
people's lives are, it tends to mirror this world in the sense that there's cities and cars, and it's
Yeah.
the same geography as here, but there's those different rules. And so I guess what I want to ask you is, do you have any awareness of some of those types of things that people are doing, like teleporting or?
Like there would be times where if I would be able to see conversations other people was having.
Uh-huh.
So like say like in the dream I was in my own house, but there was somebody like I could see another conversation somebody else was having in another building that was close to me in that world. So
Oh.
it's like by the time he got home, I would have knew what he was talking about because I knew what I knew what he'd said.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or if I was in a room and two people left the room, I could see what they were talking about and I could see everything happening in the other room.
So
Yeah.
that's actually an astral ability, and so it's something even that if I'm astral projecting, it's a type of thing that I might be able to do naturally.
Yeah.
And Are you aware of other people doing things like this, or anything that's just out of the ordinary compared to here?
No, no.
Uh,
It just like everybody else in the dream just seems like that's their world. And it
uh-huh,
seems like I'm the only person that knows, yeah, this isn't real, but I know what's going on, kind of.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Are you able to have any lucid awareness, like you're aware of this world and that world at the same time? Like you're aware of who you are as Becca when, and then you are there, and then you like the memories come to converge together.
Uh, I don't know. Like, I know I'm me. Like, I know I'm still me for this world, if that
Uh-huh.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But I never ever link together, like, both of them, no.
Okay. So if you were able to
Uh,
become lucid or be able to link your basically your mind here when you're sleeping to be aware of that world,
Mhm.
is that something that you'd want to do?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm not gonna
maybe,
lie, sometimes I prefer that world to this world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because that would be an opportunity maybe to learn about why or what that world is and how your life there in that world is like converging together, because I
Mhm,
was theorizing there must be a reason behind it, right? Because somehow
mhm.
your life here and that life must be connected in some special way, or else you
Yeah.
wouldn't have like full conscious awareness of that life.
Mhm.
And so maybe the mystery is like, why is your life connected to that life, and
Yeah.
or vice versa, right?
Well, actually, like there is some experiences that happen in that world. I end up like realizing, oh, I experienced that when I was a kid. So sometimes it kind of helps me, like in the real world, it helps me sort of like work through stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
Yeah.
What if there was like something you could practice doing to try to
Hmm.
become like lucidly aware when you're on that
Yeah.
side? Like, so did you
Hmm.
know about having pattern words or dream words to become lucid? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I know about it. I've just never ever
uh,
practiced it.
like you chant something like awareness now, and then you make
Yeah.
that into a habit to say it every 30
Hmm.
minutes for like a week. You have to be obsessive
Yeah.
compulsive about it, and then every 30 minutes awareness now, and then the idea is that once you're on that side, you repeat that, and then it jars your memory back to who you are here, and then you become aware.
Hmm.
And so that's one thing maybe you could try out. And
Yeah.
then sometimes just having like an intention to become fully conscious is also
Hmm.
important. But so there's maybe a couple things to think about. But yeah. So is it consistent like on a time basis, as in like you started having them and you were a child on that side, then you grew up basically on that side?
Well, it just sort of like, I don't know, like they started off with like, it started off where I was having dreams where I was living in the 60s and they happened like for a couple of months and then that world stopped and then
Uh,
they went away for a while and then all of a sudden I started having these dreams where I was like living life in the 90s, but
yeah,
I was born in 1965. I remember that because I
yeah.
remember these dreams went on for like, I think they went on for over a year, and they happen like because they've been the most consistent and they're the ones I've had the most like, I've been so like emotionally attached to them. So sometimes I still kind of go back into them. Yeah,
What
because they're
is
the ones, they've affected me the most.
what is your theory then about what's going on? Is it a parallel timeline? Is it this world? Is it a different world? What do you think?
I I don't know. I just know that they feel real. They feel like really like too real to be just a dream, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Especially when it's like, oh, I don't even know. Like, I'd like to think that it's like a parallel universe from living out somewhere else, and it's another life I've got. Yeah.
Have you ever had an encounter in a state like that with a like a deceased loved one or family member or anything like that?
Not in those dreams, no.
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 Oh.
I only ever see like passed on loved ones if it's like a normal dream. Never the dreams.
Uh,
No.
That's interesting. So honestly, I have no clue whether these are astral experiences or if it's like a parallel timeline or if it's a parallel Earth, possibly. If somehow you're able to gain some kind of lucid awareness and like this is kind of wild, but for example, if you can get information, like if you became conscious of that side and you're able to ask somebody details about their like full name and address and something like that, and then see if like that person is here and they're older. For example, if this is the 90s and then you get someone's full name and address, and probably that was before email addresses, but maybe even telephone. Some people keep their telephone numbers for a long time. Then that could clue you in on maybe what's if it's something objectively happening in this world in a different life on this world, right? So that could be something you could try if you could just become lucid enough and just enough so you can like, and it's quite awkward if your consciousness is converging into a different reality, whether this is the astral world or if it's a parallel timeline. It's weird because you will come across as very awkward because you'll be normal, whoever you are on that side, and then suddenly you'll be babbling. It's like, what's your name and where are you from and what's your address, right? So it's a bit awkward, but if you can get the information, that might be really interesting because if, like, for example, if you get the information and that person doesn't exist here and you can verify that, then you'll know that this is happening like in a different world or a different timeline. But if they do exist, well, then you can try to contact that person and find out if they knew somebody who matches who you were, right?
Well, Cyrus, can I ask a question?
Yeah. Feel free.
You know how you have said, like, when you go in and it seems like it's you, but you are with other friends, like living a different life on the astral, and Corey said that too. And when you come in, they recognize the difference. You know what I mean? Like they're, oh yeah, you know what I mean? You're astral projecting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that kind of happens to Cyrus. So when you come in, does anyone recognize a difference in you? Like, oh, you're like, do they? Gosh, how do I ask that? Recognize maybe that you're acting different, or that you are being different, or just nope, it's just regular old you.
Yeah, to like everybody in my dream world, I'm just like, that's just me.
That's just you.
Dream me is like for them. Yeah.
How,
like to them, that's just their world. It feels like.
Oh, weird.
Well, I think what Keely's saying is that for me, if I do this, what happens is I will embarrass myself. In other words, people will have this really shocked look on their face, like, "What did you just say? You just said something," and I'm usually arguing with them because it doesn't work that way. You're supposed to do it this way or something like that, And so they have this look on their face, and then I end up waking up. So that's my experience.
It's so cool to meet people who actually sort of experience this as well and actually believe me.
No, we believe you. We definitely believe you. We just it's fascinating. Your experiences are much deeper than what I experience, and it's just cool. I like it.
Does anyone else have any thoughts for Becca or questions?
Hello? What? No, I'm not.
Anyone else?
Nothing. Oh, thank you. I'll get something later on.
I'm going to have to drop off, guys. It's Father's Day and people are coming over.
Oh, okay. Well, happy Father's Day.
Yep. Well, thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Corey.
And tell Becca thank you. Becca, thank
Bye-bye.
you. I got to drop off, but thank you for coming on.
It was nice to meet you.
Right.
Sorry, that was my younger brother.
Oops, our connections. Our connection is dropping off just a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you still with us?
Me?
Becca, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
There
she is. Okay, so
that was my younger brother. Sorry, let's try.
Oh, no problem. Becca, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
22.
22. And
Yeah.
so are you like, so you feel like you've had a lot of past lives, or is this just this?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I knew how to like go deeper into it, but I've yet to discover that.
Yeah. Well, it is really cool about, what's happening, and then that it's consistent, and that it picks up, from where you left off, right? And then,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, and let us know if you're able to gain more conscious awareness when it's happening, so that you can maybe possibly get some kind of verifiable information to, kind of, or even if you can learn about what your identity is there, and then kind of look that identity up here. Because if you find out for something, for example, if you find out like who you are there is somebody who, well, what year were you born? Like
in the dream?
No, in your life here. Like I remember, I'm 20, like 98.
1998.
98.
Yeah, 98.
So like if you find out that your identity is somebody who like passed away in 1998, then we might be onto something, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What year did you say you were born in the dream?
65.
65.
Yeah.
So you'd be 55.
Yeah.
Current.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be, we don't. Reincarnation is a really weird thing, because it can, what they say is it happens simultaneously, in the sense that you could be living one life and living another life, even if it's the past, at the same time, because there is no such thing as time and all this kind of stuff. And so there's something to that, I believe, and also why maybe two different lives would be, very closely interconnected. So yeah, just let us know, if there's any developments and how that all plays out. And like, if I had to guess, I wouldn't be surprised if this was, a life, and then this other you maybe passed away in 1998, matching when you were born here. It could be something like that.
Yeah.
Which would be especially interesting, because then you could contact people from that life here, because because it's really interesting cases of reincarnation like that. Like there was a boy who was born and had the memories of a past life in World War II, and actually contacted like the old, people he fought with in the Air Force, and that was a really interesting story. So stuff like that is possible. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Do you know what state you lived in?
I don't know. All I know is that in Canada, when I was a kid, it was Calgary I lived in. I know that much. Yeah.
Would you be able to like identify anything on Google Earth, for example?
Oh, I've never tried. I don't know. Maybe.
That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. You could give it a shot. See if you recognize like a street or someplace that you were, and that might be a way to figure something out. I've heard about people having had parallel timelines, and then they were able to identify things. The parallel timeline stuff is really interesting. Because I was listening to a lot. D. Like Tony Rodriguez, right?
Right.
And
right.
He said the thing that convinced him that his parallel timeline was real was when he got on Google Earth and recognized where he used to live in Seattle.
Vashon Island.
And of course, that was not a pleasant parallel timeline. That was extraterrestrials manipulating a timeline to take advantage of him. So that's not not such a natural and pleasant thing like with Becca here, but but that was like an intentional timeline manipulation that reconverged, I guess, when it was over, and then he was back as Tony Rodriguez as one person, but he had spent 20 years on a parallel timeline and then taken back to the beginning of the timeline here, and I guess that like erased the old one, or it converged back together. So very unusual, and that was spurred on after an alien abduction event. So he was taken by gray aliens, and then and they asked him, can we borrow your consciousness for 20 years, right? And then he was a kid, and he's like, sure, why not? So he agreed to it. And then after he agreed to it, then he went on to live a parallel 20 years. And then he was put back where he started when the 20 years was up. So that's so that's super weird. Really, really weird story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So, all right. Well, does anyone else have any thoughts about stuff that we discussed tonight, or anything they wanted to ask Becca while she's here? Or Becca, do you have anything you wanted to ask or say to us?
I don't know. Just I'm thankful you think it's interesting.
Of course. Yeah. It's super interesting. And anyone else have anything they wanted to put out there or mention before we wrap it up? Keely?
No, it's just super interesting. I think it'd be interesting to find out if she did recognize anything on Google Earth or names, things like that. That'd be, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, there isn't a coincidence. I mean, it's not a coincidence if it's every night for a year, and this has been a continuous theme in your life. There's no way.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked up?
I'm sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, have you ever looked up your name in Calgary around that time period?
No.
Yeah, it's definitely not just a dream. There's no such thing as just a dream when it's this kind of stuff happening. It's definitely something that's going a lot deeper than that. So cool. All right. Well, it is past 2 a.m. here, so I might go to sleep here in a moment. But anyway, Becca, thanks for stopping by, and thanks for getting involved.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of
Thank
course.
you, Becca.
And
Nice to
let
meet you.
let us know in the group if there's any developments about that, or just let me know directly. The group could get a bit chaotic sometimes. There's 12,000 people there, so you never know if you'll always get fun people to talk to. Most people are great, but you never know. So you can always just contact me directly if you want to get involved with tell your story or give any updates, or get involved with the YouTube channel. And you can just contact me directly, or if you want me to talk to you again or interview you if any developments happen, anything else you want to talk about, then
I would love to hear more. Yeah.
Oh, me too.
Like, do you remember, Becca, where you work, or like, have you ever had a life far in the past? Do you remember? Nothing like that? No?
No, not really. Like, I wish I knew how to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Well, it's pretty remarkable. Yeah. What you remember and are doing. So that's neat. Thank you for telling us.
Cool.
Thank you for listening.
I'm gonna go pass out. I'll leave the room open, make somebody else the room admin, and I suppose I shall go and pass out. But thanks, guys, for coming in. As you know, the next guest is Jurgen on the 28th. And what else to announce? We'll see if Deb has any experiences tonight. I'll let you guys know if that happens.
Cool.
I guess that's it. Thanks again, Becca. And I'm going to bounce out and pass out, and I'll see you next time.
Get a good sleep, Cyrus.